Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the FireStorm podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking about something that has, something that has been recently canceled en masse, but may be starting up, hopefully, maybe pretty soon again, maybe.
Something we've all been lacking and missing dearly in our hearts.
Something that has been wrongfully taken from us. We're talking about conventions, like nerd conventions, not like conventions of like constitutional conventions, but like nerd conventions.
We're talking like Comic-Con, anime, video game conventions, those sort of deals, like all the wide range of things. I mean, like they have conventions for some things, like not nerd-wise related, like caravans.
Who cares about those?
Like I've seen conventions, and then I've seen like psychic expo conventions, and I'm like, get that fucking shit out of here, boy.
Psychic medium convention, get that fucking shit out of here.
We're not here for that. We are here for
psychic medium conventions.
We are here for the cosplay. We are here for the comics. We are here for the
not
fairies.
just any cosplay, though. Hot cosplay.
We're not. We are here for everything. Maybe not fairies though, but we're here for most things. Nerdy. I've got a few friends that are fairies, and whenever we give them shit, they know it's a joke, but they start trying to beat the shit out of us because we're making a lot of fairies. I don't blame you. Fairies, we love you, but don't love us back.
Yeah, please.
We're here to talk about conventions because we both have a few stories relating to conventions.
Trent probably has more than I do. We were gonna go to some more this year, but they got canceled. So
yeah, I have been a host at one in Adelaide, AvCon, for a few years, and I've attended several others. And there's been a lot of news recently about the revival of a convention in Australia and Adelaide, so that's pretty cool. And I thought,
I don't think we're getting close to that, but hopefully we are, because I'm planning to go to one in January. So hopefully that doesn't get canceled.
Well, when I say revival, I mean it stopped coming to Adelaide, and then this year, for next year, they decided, you know what, let's bring it back. And it's like, man, look at that.
That's wild, yeah.
And I also thought with Gus being over in, like, the land with the biggest fucking conventions, because America's got to have the biggest dick and the biggest conventions and the biggest everything, don't you, America?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I thought Gus would actually have a few stories as well, and it sounds like he does. So
I do.
It's pretty good. But let's start off with you. What conventions have you attended in the past?
Okay, so the one convention that I have attended was over a year ago now. It was the end of May last year. It was called Tidewater Comic-Con, which took place at Virginia Beach. So it's about 2 hours away from where I live, 2-hour drive, way on the east coast of America. And so it's in Virginia. So we took, and that's locally in the state, like that's in the Tidewater region of the state. Like Virginia has a lot of history. It's one of the most historically abundant states of America. Like this is where the first English settlement was made. So we have a lot of history. So that's why we call that the tide. It's split into 5 different regions or something, because we have a big history dick, but we have nothing else. Literally all we have is history. Anyway, that's why it's called Tidewater. And there's oceans by it or something. So
tides
I went there.
And waters and shit. Yeah, a lot of water. Yeah,
tides and waters, pretty much. So 3 of my friends and I went there last year. We went both days, but we were definitely kind of more burnt out the second day. We only stayed for probably a couple hours, and it was one of those things because it was my first convention, and it was one of those things where I was expecting it to be a lot more grandeur than it was, because especially it's a fairly small Comic-Con, it's Virginia Beach, so for those of you familiar with the geography of America, it's not exactly the most populated place in the country, so it wasn't a huge Comic-Con by any means. So you go in, and the main floor is basically just a bunch of fucking shops, bunch of people taking all their handcrafted merchandise or whatever, or maybe maybe like stolen artwork and printed into posters or whatever. You know how it is. So, but it was just a bunch of shopping. It was really cool. Okay, the first day it was awesome because it was like we saw a bunch of like there was so much nerd shit. It was great. Like there was like there was a thing in the corner, like in the corner of the big convention room where they had like this, I think they were having like Mario Kart tournaments or something. There was plenty of shops to go buy like literally anything you can think of, like jewelry, hats, clothes, posters, whatever. Like you could buy pretty much anything nerdy you wanted. You could decorate it like an entire room within like 20 minutes. You could get enough stuff to decorate an entire room, like easily.
Nice.
So it was a really cool thing to see because I hadn't been amongst such a dense collection of nerd shit before. It was just, and there was nerds everywhere. And to be honest, like I didn't feel out of place per se, but there was so much like cosplay and like people that were just so outwardly nerdy, you know, like I'm not someone who's like out, like so nerdy that you could just tell immediately by seeing me that I'm a nerd. Like I can fit in pretty well with the normies if I have to, but it was so weird because we almost felt like we were out of place because we were just wearing like jeans and t-shirts, you know, and everyone else was like in cosplay or like wearing this like over dramatic nerd shit. And I was like, whoa, I was not expecting this. Like, I think I wore my Starbomb shirt the first day and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was really funny. Okay, actually, the first day, we got a picture with this guy cosplaying as Waluigi. I wonder if I have it. I wasn't in the picture. I took the picture, but my friends got in the picture with this guy cosplaying Waluigi, and he had a sign that said "Let me smash" on one side, obviously because of, you know, it has a double meaning, because everyone wanted, that was big when everyone wanted Waluigi in Smash. That was around that time. So,
right.
Yeah, so it said, "Let me smash." So that has a double meaning. That was really clever. I can't remember what it said on the other side, though. But that's the one in the picture. I think it's in my Snapchat memory somewhere. But it's... that was the best thing. And two of my friends they bought this, like... I don't know if it was a poster. It was more like a physical, like, framed picture almost. Of the memes. It was like some kind of meme Squidward picture. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was. Like the super realistic looking Squidward with the super serious face. I can't remember exactly what it looks like.
I think I might know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, it was so stupid. But that was what we were there for, to be stupid. Yeah, so actually we didn't like pay to meet any of the special guests that showed up, but actually I can't remember, it might have been Sunday, but Dante Bosco, the voice of Zuko, he was there. I like kind of saw him in the distance.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, whoa,
my dude.
Yeah, he was there. I just kind of like looked at him wistfully from a distance. But yeah, it was like, it was pretty cool. Like, they had some pretty cool guests. It was one of those things because it was a fairly small convention, so the guests probably weren't that overwhelmed by anything. So that's nice. It's just something for them to do. But yeah, it was a really, they had some games going up, like tabletop games going on in the upstairs rooms and whatever else. We didn't really do any of those because there was like, I think you had to be like paying for that or something. I don't remember exactly, but I think we tried to go in one of the rooms. They like didn't let us in. Anyway, I didn't end up buying like too much. I think I got a hat. Wow. Yeah, so that's the one I've been to. We were we ended up staying the night in this like really cheap hotel, which was great because I'm pretty sure the people next door to us were smoking hella weed.
Oh my god! I just searched up Tidewater Comic Con, and you guys got fucking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall at the next one.
Yeah, yeah, that's so sick. Weird. It's so weird, but yeah, like we didn't. One of the things, like, since it was so small, like there were some pretty decent cosplays there, but like nobody, like, I don't really follow the whole cosplay schmoz, but there are some really big names in cosplay. Like, a lot of people online on social media get really famous just for doing really good cosplays, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't recognize anyone. You know, there were some questionably dressed females there, which was appreciated, I guess.
That's just part of the Comic-Con game. Man.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Part of the convention game.
Exactly. So I mean, like, I'm not complaining. You know, why would I complain about that?
I for legal reasons cannot state how I feel about them, because I want to return as a host next year, and I can't give my opinion. I can't give my opinions on such. Yeah.
There you go. For legal, then I'll just double down with mine.
Oh God.
But yeah, we were my friends and I were planning to go to another one in March, but it got big canceled. It was even smaller scale one. It was this one up in Maryland, just north of DC. We were planning to go in March and it got canceled. It was like taking place at this community college. I think it would have been cool, and it was only like one day we were going. But actually, I'm not really part of this friend group, but like one of my friends from high school who I did orchestra with. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a longtime violinist. Like I played violin for 7 years in school. Yeah, long ass time. So one of my friends from my high school orchestra class invited me to go with her friends because they're doing a big group cosplay from My Hero Academia.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's called Katsucon, and it takes place, I believe it's in Maryland as well. I'm not exactly sure, but it's pretty close to where we are. And seems like it's one of those bigger ones. So there will be like some notable guests. Will be there 2 days. We'll only be cosplaying one of the days, but so I'm gonna be going as Bakugo. That'll be fun, because I'll be well. First of all, I need to start hitting the gym because Bakugo is ripped. But I need to. One of the things I would love to do is to get into character while I'm in the cosplay, and Bakugo is just a jackass all the time.
You have to be in character.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally, I could go around the whole day, Saturday, just being a jackass to everyone. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go away, you stupid bitch. Like, that's not my Bakugo. Obviously, Bakugo is louder. I'm not gonna try to. It's still 7 a.m. I'm not gonna wake anyone up. But yeah. So but I do have a okay Bakugo impression. So if that was ever required of me, I would be so on board.
I know it would be. A lot of the time when people that don't cosplay see cosplayers, they really like the full act. They like it. The fucking full thing. They really want you to go in depth with
Yeah,
it,
and the thing is, for Bakugo specifically, he has these giant motherfucking cannons on his arms. So I'm not gonna buy those because A, they're expensive, and B, they're expensive. B, they're fucking heavy as shit. So I'm not going to be carrying around those things on my arms all day. So we're doing like casual versions of their hero outfits. So there's already like, and the reason I ended up choosing, Deku would have been my first pick, but the reason I ended up choosing Bakugo is because that was like what we had available. Like, because a bunch of one of her friends had already claimed Deku. But yeah, it was like, I think Bakugo is like, because Deku's like this shy motherfucker. I think Bakugo's would be more fun. Anyway, so yeah. But that's pretty much all the plans I have. I definitely, one of the things I really like is the smaller conventions that I could go for like one day, because I'm in school most of the time, and most of my friends, which is like 3 hours to the west of where I live, and all my friends live here. And like the 1-day conventions are like kind of cool because my friends and I can like meet up there and spend the day. So we plan, like I said, we plan to go to one in March, but literally the tickets for 1 day were like $15. So I mean, I could do a bunch of those. Like nice. I could do so many of those. So I want to look into more of those when conventions start up again. But there's everyone, like scientists are saying there's going to be another wave of the old coronavirus.
Yeah, they're predicting another wave.
Yeah, so
around November. That's very specific. Oh.
Yeah, they're saying it's going to pop up again because that's when it started last year, I think.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I know, right? We might have to like quarantine in advance.
We might need a future episode where we do fucking conspiracy theories, like the government released COVID.
The only reason I know is because my college sent out an email where basically our like first, like the majority of our fall classes are going to be in school. So we're going back to school in the fall for in-person classes, thankfully. But the last 2 weeks, as well as final exams, are going to be conducted online because of the coronavirus, the second wave they're predicting around November. So after Thanksgiving for us, which is end of November, we're taking our classes online. Those classes only go until like early December. So the last like 2 weeks are online. So that's the only reason I know there's a second wave in November.
Well, isn't that when winter hits for you, or is that like?
Yeah, that's when winter hits.
That's probably why. But they're probably expecting, because it's literally just hit winter here in Australia. They're probably thinking like, oh, second wave of COVID's coming now, boys. I haven't been paying attention to the news though, so I don't give a fuck. But most likely that's what it's looking like. But all right, that's fair. But still,
I definitely wanted to look into more conventions just because like it's really cool. Like I mean, obviously I'm not even 21 yet. Like I'm not in a place financially where I can afford to like fly across the country to go to any of the big conventions or even buy a ticket to any of the big conventions. But it's just one of those things. It's like a really cool experience to meet up with other people who are nerdy, you know? I get it. It's really cool. So I definitely want to do a lot more in the future. Kind of low key hoping I can snag some cute nerdy girls numbers while I'm there. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. There you go.
You know how it is.
Shoot your shot.
Exactly.
Fucking do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. I mean, is Tidewater the only one you've actually been to, or
the only one I've actually been to? Yeah, I was planning, like I said, I was planning to go to some this year, but that didn't pan out.
I was gonna say, what are the other ones around your area? Like, I don't know if you said the names.
We don't have too many around the actual area. I was planning to go to this one GalaxyCon, which they have here in Richmond. It's pretty big actually. And one of my friends. Well, more like a friend of a friend, but we kind of became friends. She was planning to go. She's a big cosplay girl. She was planning to go, and I was going to ask to go with her because I've never been to GalaxyCon. And my friends actually that I went to Tidewater with are not as nerdy as I am. So I was just going to go with her, and because she's really nerdy. But I was just going to go with her because I think she might have been going with someone. I'm not sure who, but I was just gonna ask to kind of tag along because I'd never been, and it's like a 1-day thing. But they held it while I was away at school, and last year they held it during the summer. So if they had it during the summer, I would have at least been here. But since I was at school, I was like, I'm not driving 3 hours back home just to go to a 1-day convention.
No, that's fair.
So yeah, that was my logic. I don't know why they moved it. It took place in February this year for some reason. So I could have gone, but I just didn't feel up to it. but yeah, GalaxyCon is the one of the others I was trying to go to, which they have in the where I live, but they don't have they don't have a whole lot of like actual nerdy conventions around where I live. Most of them are up in like DC, which is 2 hours north. Gonna go visit the White House, say hello to old Donnie, then go dress up as like
when he's surrounded by the military. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Best of luck.
What up, Donnie? And like kind of move on with my nerdy day. Yeah, there's a lot in DC, actually, surprisingly enough. Like I'm surprised, or like I don't know. Like I mean, I guess there's a lot of convention centers in DC, but that's probably why. And it's pretty central. Like it's a location everybody knows. But that's that's pretty much it. Most of them take place north of here. There aren't too many conventions in the South because I don't know, cowboys or something. But yeah, that's
man, they got nothing but cowboy conventions, man. That's
oh man, you're right. Riding on their big green tractors.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's there are some conventions like in North Carolina and stuff, but there's not. Most of them are in bigger locations. Like there's plenty in cities like Chicago and pretty much every city in California. Plenty in Seattle, you know, stuff like that. But they're all very far away from me. The closest one would be in New York City, which is like 6 hours. My friends and I went there for a concert last year, which was great, by the way. FM84. They were fantastic. It was, but they have a surprisingly small number of conventions in New York.
Well, okay, I'm got an idea. How about we double it up? Why don't we make this episode about attending conventions and attending concerts? Because I've got a few concert stories as well.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't. The FM84 concert's the only concert I've been to that I actually like wanted to go to, because I was planning to go to a Breaking Benjamin concert this summer, but it got postponed.
Fucking rip.
Yeah, rest in peace. But I'm hoping I get to go whenever because they were gonna have one in Virginia Beach, and I was gonna go with one of my friends. But that just didn't end up happening. So yeah, the concert I went to in New York was for FM84. They're like this retro wave, I think is what it is, the genre they do. It's really cool. It's like throwback synthwave stuff. They have this incredible vocalist, Ollie Ride. So basically FM84 is actually just this one guy who does all the music production. It's like I'll send you
you've sent me one of the songs. I remember I got one of their songs. I think it's called Mainframe.
Yes, so that's an instrumental track. So originally FM84 was just one guy, Cole, who did a bunch of instrumental tracks. Mainframe's really cool. I used a couple FM84 instrumental tracks in the movies list we did.
That's where I got it from, yeah.
Yeah, so they have some really cool ones. Look up Running in the Night. That's their most popular song, and it has Ollie Ride in it. Ollie Ride is such an incredible vocalist. And he is, the way he performs live, I've never seen anything like it. Like, he is just so incredible all the time. I don't know how he does it, but it's just so good. Like, I've seen some footage of rock bands performing live. None of them even come close to how how pitch perfect Ollie was, and just how well he just pulled out everything. He was so charismatic. He's just so good. So I have nothing but praise and admiration for Ollie Ride. He's perfect for that genre. His voice is perfect for that genre. Like, he couldn't pull off a rock band, but he fits that genre so well.
Yeah, I'm listening to Running in the Night now, and I get exactly what you mean. Like, his vocals remind me of like Queen or something, like the really retro, male but high pitched almost as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
And that, yeah, the synth. Ooh, I like it.
It's so good. Yeah, Running in the Night is an incredible song, but they have some really there are some underappreciated ones as well. I did a cover of their song Never Stop a while back, which is one of my favorites that they've done. But their album Atlas is just so incredible.
But I'm trying to imagine stuff like this live. Like that would be weird, but also cool.
It was great because actually, what they did, Cole had this. He's the guy who does all the production and instrumentals. He had this like setup where he had like 3 layers of MIDI keyboards and like a computer, like a laptop on his left or something. It was great. And he didn't actually play everything, obviously. He had a lot of the instrumentals just going in the background, and he would kind of add on to it with his pianos, or with his little MIDI controllers. It was really good because he was basically a DJ there, and Ollie was doing vocals. It was great, and they had this guy, Josh Daly, playing guitar as well, which was really cool because it was unlike any guitar tone I've ever heard. It was like this weird wavy, kind of dirty, kind of not tone. It was really, really interesting, and they played actually when Ollie took a break. They did. Cole and Josh performed one of the instrumental tracks, Jupiter, and they Josh did an over the head guitar solo like behind his head. It was crazy. Yeah, but even though Jupiter, the actual song, doesn't have any like anything like that in it, like it doesn't have a guitar solo, it just has some like elements of guitar in it. But you can't even really tell it's a guitar. Like you have to actually be able like know what it is to hear. Yeah. But yeah. So, but they have just, if you haven't listened to Atlas, I can't recommend FM84 enough. Like it's one of those genres that no matter what kind of music's your favorite, no matter what you listen to, I'm convinced anyone can like FM84. Like anyone. It's just one of those genres that just appeals to. It's not like, because it has elements of what people like us don't like about rock music, and not a lot of what people don't like of what we don't like about rap music or whatever. Like it has beautiful vocals, it has really cool instrumentals going on, and it has exactly. It doesn't have anything that people don't like about rock music. It's not too intense. It's very like relaxed. It's not relaxed, but like, you know, the instrumentals are like fairly tame, and they're not as like heavy. I'm convinced anyone can like FM84's music, and you can't change my mind.
That's fair. That is
fair.
Fair.
So that's the one concert I've been to. I was planning to go. There was one concert I missed that I was really sad about. It was actually Skillet. Yeah, they were actually performing with From Ashes to New, another band I really like, who was opening, as well as Ledger. So I would have known all three of the bands performing. But yeah, that was one I was planning to go just by myself because I didn't know anyone at school that wanted to go to a rock concert with me, because most of my friends at school don't like rock music. So I was just gonna go and just kind of vibe at the concert because it was like $20 to go, and I was like, well, shit. But it was on a Thursday night, and I had class the next morning, so I couldn't really. Yeah, it was like a 2-hour drive, so I couldn't really go.
That is the most unfortunate.
Yeah.
When they fucking have concerts during the week, like, are you serious?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, since I had classes the next morning, I couldn't really do that.
That's an oof.
Yeah, it was an oof. And then my Breaking Benjamin concert got canceled too. Yeet. I'm on a roll. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. It was in New York City though. It was great. Like we stayed in this. We stayed in like a little hotel. My hotel room, actually, fun fact, since that was around when we were working. We started working on the movies list. That's when we went. It was early June when we went to the concert. In the time before the concert, because the concert was late at night. It was like 8 or something, 8 p.m. In the time before the concert, we literally, like, my two friends just kind of vibed in the hotel room, and I actually watched the 3rd and 4th Pokemon movies and took notes on them. There you go. Fun fact.
Nice.
So right before the concert, I was watching Pokemon movies and taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
that's the grind. That's what
exactly,
you gotta do.
dude. That's the grind. So that was, and then it was in Brooklyn, so it was the more sketchy part of New York. We literally walked there. It was probably like a mile or so of a walk. And there was this weird, we had to take this weird like side path on the edge of like a really nasty looking creek. To get to the concert, and we had, because we were all under 21, we had X's drawn on our hands just so that we couldn't get alcohol. It was this nice little bar area that we had the concert in. It was oh man, it was this really like relaxed thing, because it was a fairly small concert. FM84 is not hugely popular, so there was only probably maybe upwards of 100 people there attending. So they had this bar in the back. Obviously, we couldn't get anything because we're not legal yet. But yeah, it was rough. But we, it was this nice, it was basically a vibe room, is what it was, because there was like these dim, like colorful lights going on. And yeah, it was really good, but it was very, very loud because it was such a small room. Yeah, that's the only thing. I remember afterwards, it was like 11 or something, and we were walking back to our hotel, and it was like the sketchy part of New York City at the dead of night. It was great. We didn't die. So that's all that really matters. You know.
It was great.
It was
so
great.
Sketchy.
We almost died. I saw a man with a knife. Look at me funny.
Holy shit.
Yeehaw.
Scared for my life.
That's the North.
Fucking hell.
Oh well. Anyway, I think that's all I got. So
Nice.
Still planning to go to Breaking Benjamin whenever they come around, but
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm fortunate enough that Adelaide, it's odd. It's small enough so we have big venues and like big attractions like miss us usually. Like the bigger bands typically miss us a lot of the time, but we're small enough so that happens, but we're big enough to have enough variety of conventions and enough bands to visit us to make it worth it. A lot of the times, like whenever big bands say, "Oh, we're doing a worldwide tour," they go to maybe Sydney and Melbourne. They don't go to fucking anywhere else, and it's like, well, all right, love it, thank you. And like a lot of the places like bloody Victoria, Perth, Adelaide, they all miss out. But every state has at least 2 or more conventions in their own right, which is nice. That is quite good. Adelaide itself, it's big. It's not the biggest, but the convention that literally is just in Adelaide is AvCon, the convention I've hosted at before. The Adelaide's Anime and Video Game Festival. AvCon. So I've hosted the previous 2 years, 2018 and 19. The event this year has been postponed to January 2021. So I'm planning on being a host there again this year. It's a lot of fun. The other convention we had, which was, there's been a bit of news going around. I made a video about this. Supernova, Comic-Con and gaming. Supernova is probably one of the biggest conventions that goes around every state, I'd like to say. They stopped, like they do Perth, they do Sydney, they do Melbourne, they do Brisbane, and the Gold Coast. And for a short while at the end of last year, they were basically hinting that they might not come back to Adelaide, because out of all 6 of the locations they go to every year, Adelaide is like they lose a profit on Adelaide. They admitted this. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So then so then everyone started kicking up a fuss and being like, are you fucking serious? Like, fuck you. And I did a whole video on it, because like Supernova, although the exhibitions and stuff like that are typically repetitive, a lot of it's the same. Supernova is the only convention that manages to bring big guests to Adelaide. Like what a bit last year we had John Travolta or some shit, and it's just like, although I forgot who he was, like my sister fucking loves him, and then we had like a bunch of other awesome guests, like we got some Attack on Titan voice actors and from some people from Overwatch, and then like Star Wars and Yu-Gi-Oh and a bunch of other shit, and
Nice.
we got like they always bring the big guests, and so that's good. I did volunteer at Supernova in 2018. But they they put me in there was like a few different categories you could select yourself for that you believed you were good at, and
Yeah.
the one category didn't have a lot of people was the community category, and I'm like, I'm good at getting along with people, so I put my name down for the community category, but for some reason all it was me gluing people's cosplay props back together. It wasn't actually me interacting with the community. It was me like talking to them and be like, yeah, okay, I'll put you some hot glue to attach your shield to your back. I'm sorry you broke it because you're a fucking dickhead. But yeah, so that was good, but also shit.
So
yeah, but there has been
community. I like the idea that that's what nerds think community is.
Yeah, I know. But so yeah, I did that. That was alright. But and then for the past few years, Adelaide has been missing Oz Comic Con. I believe Oz Comic Con is like it's pretty balanced with Supernova to be the biggest convention in Australia, and I believe in like 2015, 2016, they stopped coming to Adelaide, and they just did Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. And then either last year or the year before, they combined with a Melbourne exclusive convention called Animaga, which is, if you can tell from the name, mostly anime stuff. It's literally an anime festival. But
Gotcha.
like the end of last year or the year before, Oz Comic Con like basically joined with Animaga. And now Oz Comic Con is planning on taking both of them together around each state. And they announced about a week ago that they're coming back to Adelaide next year. So next year we're going to have AvCon at the start of the year, Oz Comic Con / Animaga in June, and then Supernova in November. So it's like, holy fuck, next year is going to be amazing. So I am really excited for next year. I'm going to attend a lot of conventions. Yeah. If I don't go to Japan, which I don't know if I will, because borders and shit.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, if we can't go overseas, then I don't know what the likelihood is of us attending conventions, but... Yeah,
fair.
Yeah. I don't know. But either way, a lot of good conventions happening, at least in Adelaide next year, so I'm excited for that. But, yeah, a few stories I got. Mostly just me volunteering at AvCon, with helping out guests and stuff like that. Like, we've had to talk to and help out a few guests, like Neil Kaplan, Spike Spencer, who else? I don't know. There's a few other guests that have attended AvCon, which were really cool. But before I did hosting at AvCon, I did actually just attend as a guest, and not a guest, a fucking attendee. That's what I was. I was a pleb like the rest of us, and it was good. But oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, in 2019, it was so good. In 2019, I did a lot of interviews and stuff like that with DC Douglas and Paul St. Peter. And DC Douglas is really entertaining. He has a good after dark 18+ show, which involves his ties with Resident Evil. But for legal reasons, we cannot say more than that. And I legitimately mean for legal reasons this time. But it was still really cool. And there's this one clip which I'm so disappointed AvCon have not released it yet. It was because they usually release the full length interviews they do with guests on YouTube. Yeah. And it was me and I believe Eliza doing an interview with DC Douglas and Paul St. Peter on stage. And we just had to shoot the shit, do questions and stuff like that. And like we had attendees ask questions, and one of the questions was about confidence in voice acting and DC. It was like how to be confident with your voice acting. And DC Douglas basically responded with, well, there's many ways to do it. And I believe his answer was something along the lines of, it works as well if you have someone to play off of. So then he used me as an example. So he looked at me, and then he, like, in character, like, did shit like compliment me and all that.
Yeah.
And there was something really funny earlier in the interview, like in the on stage thing, where he nearly swore, and we weren't meant to swear, and he said, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm not really family friendly," and it kept going, and it was really funny. And
nice.
So then it was just like 30 seconds of me and him going back and forth, where we were complimenting each other in like weird ways, and then I was just like, you know, you're not very family friendly. And then for some reason, him and everyone laughed, and I don't know how the fuck, but it was really good. And like, he fucking high-fived me after the interview, and I was just like, oh, this was so fucking cool. Like, it was just awesome. Really being able to interact with guests like that was mint. And I really want AvCon to release the clip, but they haven't. And then like Paul St. Peter, I got to talk to him at the after session show. Everyone went to like a giant pub or whatever, and the guests came and had a couple drinks, and then like, well, I don't know, we talked about shows, we talked about politics, and we talked about like everything, and then like he bought us we bought him drinks, and then he bought us drinks, and it was so fucking cool. So I was nice. Like, that was fun, and
that is epic.
Yeah, so it was really cool interacting with high profile guests like that, and it's always fun doing stuff like that. So that there were a lot of my good experiences at AvCon, and like especially at AvCon, you get to like the one thing about conventions I'm sure everyone loves is just meeting people that are similar to you. Like, people that have a similar, they're all there for the same reason, and except if you're a host. But most people that attend the conventions are there for the same reason. They all enjoy the shit that they've got on offer. So it's just good meeting like people with similar interests, and like without even realizing it, I met like Tamisha and everyone from the D&D group like at AvCon before I actually knew them. It was like they all saw me on stage like before I actually got to know them, and it was like, it's really cool. And then now I actually know them, and I don't know, it's just really fun.
That is epic. Like, you just, especially, it's cool for you because you just live in that area, so theoretically most of the people you meet also live in the area, so you can just kind of hang after that. AvCon, Adelaide is, like I said, like, it's big, but it's small enough that you know everyone. Like, if you don't know the person next to you on a train, you'll probably know someone, like one of their family members, or you'll probably know like a friend that has them as a friend. Like, it's so weird that way. But that's the other good thing about Adelaide. It's good having these people come by, and it's I don't know. It's really interesting the way it's really cool the way everything is. Yeah. But at least with conventions, I'm glad AvCon. There's been a few things going on with AvCon. We're hoping we can bring it back up and make our next AvCon probably the biggest yet. The one thing that was disappointing was that like I've never cosplayed before, but actually I can probably still do this. But AvCon, they have themed. Like every year there's a theme, and the next one is going to be like an Ultimate Fighter themed. And when this was announced, I was going to start working with Tamisha and the cosplay D&D friends on a Tekken 7 cosplay for me. Nice. Because it's just like we're going to try and get all the hosts in cosplays for fighting events and stuff, like fighting games and stuff. So I was like,
I'm so down for that. Like, my goal is to be Heihachi from Tekken, because I can hide my big belly with his uniform, and I can have really cool spiky hair. So
Hey.
it's gonna be cool if it works, but I don't know if it will. We'll see. But yeah, and so it's very exciting next year. Like, when conventions are allowed to run again, like, if these dates that AvCon, Supernova, and Oz Comic Con have slated, if these dates remain, then next year is going to be the fucking biggest year for conventions in Adelaide, and I am excited.
Nice.
In regards to concerts, I've been fortunate enough to attend a few. Most of them were like most of the concerts I've attended. I got tickets to them as gifts. So my first concert was 2015. So 5 years ago, it was Foo Fighters with Rise Against opening for them.
Nice.
And at that time, I was mostly just into Rise Against, but I knew Foo Fighters' biggest hits.
Yeah.
And it was so good going there, and like I was a bit younger, so I wasn't allowed in the mosh pit and I wasn't allowed to drink. But like, as soon as you got there, it's just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of people smoking weed here, and it's just like that's how it is. That's how it is at most concerts. But yeah.
Hella
but
weed.
I gotta fucking say, Foo Fighters are the fucking best at live concerts. Foo Fighters
I've seen some of their like clips of them live. They sound incredible.
They sound amazing, and the energy with like everyone singing the same song and everyone vibing to the fucking tunes. Like, Foo Fighters just take it to a next level. Rise Against was really good as well. Like, they played enough of the hits that I enjoyed that I was like into it, and I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, because they just released a new album, but I hadn't heard the new album. But then I got like they were selling signed copies of the new album for like $20 at the merch store, and I'm like, fuck yeah. So
yeah,
I was able to listen to the whole album when I got back afterwards. But yeah, so that was my first concert, and then I believe my second one. So I've seen a few smaller bands and gigs. Like, I saw the Axis of Awesome 1 year when they came to the LA Fringe, but
yeah,
it was alright. It wasn't as good as you'd expect. And when I went to England, we saw my brother's bands, my brother's mate's band, Bear Traps. They're really good.
I remember you told me about that.
And that was a nice little thing. I've made videos about most of these topics. Like, I've made videos about most of these things. Like, just fucking check them all out.
Hey.
But then I went to another Foo Fighters concert with my brother and my mate Aaron, and I forgot who opened for them, but it was really good. It was because they just released, I believe it was Sonic Highways. No, it wasn't Sonic Highways. It was Concrete and Gold, I believe it was. And singing. See, the thing is, like, singing Everlong and The Pretender and like a bunch of the hits with a giant crowd that all know the lyrics.
Yeah,
with an amazing, like, the amazing performance going on stage. Like, it's the best feeling I've ever had. It's exhilarating, and you're on your feet for hours and hours, and then it's not only till you're walking back to the car do you realize, oh fuck, I need to sit down. This fucking hurts.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so much fun. It's so good. And yeah, so I saw Foo Fighters by themselves, and then I saw Rise Against by themselves, which I believe in 2018 as well, yeah. And that was really good. And I got to hear a lot more of the hits, and they did a lot of good stuff. And except it was in Theberton Theatre, which is the oldest theatre, I believe, in Adelaide, but it's also like the one with the least air conditioning. So it was so fucking hot, and so many people. It was fucked. But then So I believe it was those three, yeah, and then I got to see Skillet.
Yeah.
Because literally, I've been into Skillet for so long, and I got into them like in 2012 or 2013, and the last time they visited was 2011. And I was like, oh my god, they're not going to be here for years. They're not going to come back for years. And then they announced they're coming in it was at the start of 2018. They announced, we're coming to Australia in November. And I'm like, I'm getting these tickets. I don't give a fuck. I'm not waiting for, because I usually ask for the shit for my birthday or whatever. It's just like, no, I'm getting this right now. I'm getting this right fucking now. And I got the VIP as well. So I fucking met them. That was... Oh. Dude, I still got the hat I bought it. I have a hat that I bought at that concert. I know, I wear it all the time. It's battered. It's fucking ripped at the back. I don't care. I wear this shit 24/7. I love that hat. That concert. Like, although I can never get over how amazing Foo Fighters are live in concert. They are phenomenal. They take it to to another level. But because I'm just so much more familiar with the Skillet songs that I love, that I enjoy the Foo Fighters concert more, but Skillet, I just was in love with it a little bit. I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah. I think
it's
I know
hard
what you
to
mean.
balance out which one was my favorite. But like literally being able, because my favorite song is Whispers in the Dark, and my internal fear was that, okay, they have a pattern in which, like, after 4 new albums, they stop playing songs from the previous album. Like, once they released, I think it was Rise. No, they stopped singing songs from the Collide album, I think. So I was like, oh no, unleashed. Released Unleashed. They just brought out that album. So I had the internal fear of they're not going to sing anything from Comatose. And my favorite song is Whispers in the Dark. And I had no clue if they were going to sing it. They opened up with Feel Invincible. And then as soon as it ended, they started playing the piano tunes for Whispers in the Dark. And I'm like, yes! Yes! I was in my element. I recorded like the first minute of it to put up on YouTube. And then the entire song, I was vibing. I was singing with it. And it was the best feeling I've ever had. It was nice. I loved it.
Actually, I was going to say, I think I've seen the video of you going to the Skillet concert, and I think I wanted to mention this when you were talking about the Skillet concert, because they do something really smart. I believe they played Whispers in the Dark in a lower key than
a lot of the older songs they play in a different key, just because it's easier to adjust to the different key between song transitions.
Yeah, it's very smart, like, not just because, like, not just for like the guitarist or whatever, but also just for because Whispers in the Dark isn't like that hard of a song to sing, but when you're singing like fucking 80 million songs in a concert, like, you don't want to exhaust your voice more than you have to. And John, his voice is like kind of naturally lower anyway, so when he plays it in a lower key, it not only does it not like completely exhaust his voice, but it also just it preserves it for the later songs. It's really smart, and I think a lot of people, like a lot of bands especially, like they try too hard to play stuff in the original key when I don't really think it's necessary sometimes.
See, I get what you're saying, because not only do like when they play it in a lower tune, it's easier for them to move on to the next song, but also because it allows him to get away with singing in a lower tone when originally he wouldn't. Yeah. But I noticed this as well, because the one thing they did, I don't know if I mentioned it in the Skillet episode, I might have, but they there's a few staples to a Skillet live session, like Hero, Monsters, Whispers in the Dark, Awaken Alive. Like, there's a few staples now. And when they kept performing all the songs in a different key, they decided to release revised versions of those songs in the iTunes Session album. Exclusive on iTunes, but you can find it on YouTube because people upload it there. But if you hear the comparison between like Monster from the Awake album and then Monster from the iTunes Session album, you can tell they play that key live. Like the iTunes version, they play that key live because it's just what that's just what they've been doing, and it works. It still fucking hits. It still slaps harder than my dad. So it's so fucking good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, especially for someone like John, who like I said, his voice is naturally lower. Like, if he doesn't have to sing that high, because Monster, it doesn't go too high a lot, but when it does go, like when it goes feel like when it goes that high, like that's a tough note to hit sometimes, especially when you're singing like 15 songs in a row, you know? So it's completely understandable that he drops the key a little bit. Like, it's because, man, I think, honestly, I almost think when he sings lower, it sounds better anyway. So, so it makes more sense just in every single way to sing it lower.
There are times here and there when he's exhausted, though. When he's exhausted after singing for so long, which I don't blame him for, but there's times where, like, especially in Monster, where it just sounds like he's not singing, but rather he's just, like, saying the words as if he was in a conversation. Yeah. Like, there's so many times where I've seen a few live shows from them on YouTube, and there's so many times where he's that exhausted, he just says, I must confess that I feel like like, it just, like, the parts in between... Like I must confess that I feel like a monster. Like he says, I must confess, like not as if he's singing it. It just sounds like he's saying it in a conversation. And it's like I don't blame him though, because by that point he's been singing for like 45 minutes. Yeah. So So I get it.
And that's something about it's not exactly the same, but Ben Burnley. I've seen some clips of him live. He is definitely more of a studio man. He's not incredible by any means live, but he's still good live, especially when he goes into like his higher register. But like a lot of times when he a lot of Breaking Benjamin songs have pretty quick transitions from like really high stuff to lower stuff, so you have to hit a different register completely. You have to change in a pretty short time. So some of the notes that Ben sings in the lower register can be kind of sloppy. And one thing I noticed is that there's this like a melody that Ben uses a lot. It's like in Breath, it's like, for example, like in Breath, it's like, and won't feel your evil mind, like that. Whoa. He kind of doesn't he doesn't hit all three of those notes. He kind of just goes whoa. Yeah, he kind of misses the middle note there, and it's kind of weird sounding, but it is tough to switch between those registers within a short time. So it's one of those things, like, not every rock musician is going to be amazing live. And sometimes you just, like, because especially for rock guys, they're absolutely belting out shit for 45 minutes. Like, it's going to take a toll no matter how you look at it. So it's just one of those things, like, you can't expect perfection when they're performing live like that, you know?
No, definitely not. But yeah, no, that's all my stories with concerts and that. But yeah, so going back to conventions, that's basically the roundup I had. I've made videos on most of these topics. Like when Supernova were talking about leaving Adelaide, I did a giant fucking rant on that. I did a vlog for the Skillet concert because that was I fucking had to.
Fair.
And like I've done hoist vlogs for the past 2 AvCons, which were awesome. But so check those all out if you fucking want to. But yeah, that's basically the wrap up we have for you. need to attend more
Yes, we do.
conventions. I know that much. Next year is definitely looking up for Adelaide so long as COVID doesn't hit. Because, like you, originally, like Oz Comic Con and even Supernova, in the bigger states, they would host the bigger shows. Like, even if Supernova came to Adelaide, they wouldn't have as many star-studded guests. Like, they would have a few, but they would save the bigger, like, more important ones for for Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah.
So it was always, and even Melbourne and Sydney have a few of their own bigger conventions as well, which we don't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And they have a phenomenal guests and whatnot. But for definitely next year for Adelaide, it looks like it's going to be really fucking mint, and it's because there's 3 big ass events paced throughout the year, like the start, middle, and end. So at least for next year, I'm gonna be pretty on the ball with convention.
Hopefully I'll be in there as well. Getting
Definitely.
some more convention experience.
No, definitely. My and with concerts, like, in all honesty, I've had a long think about who else I would want to see live, and I honestly don't fucking know. There's so many bands that I love, but I don't know who I would see live. Like, the thing is that I'm now in the mood. Like, my brother does this. My brother from England, whenever he gets the chance to see Foo Fighters, he takes it. He's seen them, I think, like, what, 10, 20 times? I don't know.
Nice.
And I'm now in that mindset as well. If I ever get the chance to see Foo Fighters, I'm gonna fucking take it, because they are that good.
Nice.
And I'm probably gonna be the same with Skillet, just because I love them so much. But, like, I'm thinking about all the bands I like, and the only other artists I would like to see live is probably Breaking Benjamin and Nate Wants to Battle.
That's another one I was planning to go to and didn't get to. Yeah, Nate Wants to Battle got canceled.
Fuck
yeah. That was in DC. Yeah. I was planning to go in DC. I think it was it was in September. Yeah. So I was planning to go then. It was on a good day too. I think it was on a Friday. So I would have been able to go, even though it was during school. Hopefully that gets rescheduled, because I definitely want to go see Nate. I missed the first round. But yeah, that's another one on my list. I want to see more. I think, at least for me, I want to see more. I want to see a variety stuff. Like, I want to see rock bands, but I've thought about like, one of my friends, the guy I did the Sword and Shield podcast with early on, my best friend. He is a big like electronic rave guy. So we've thought about going to, like, one of those big festivals for where they do, like, dubstep and rave music. Obviously, there's a lot of drugs there, but neither of us kind of partake in that.
I was surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs, not just weed. It goes past that. But neither of us partake in psychedelics, so we were just kind of go and vibe without the psychedelics. But yeah,
I mean, you could, but it won't be as entertaining.
Sure, yeah, but also we don't have the money to buy psychedelics anyway. So
no, that's why you purposely let people drop them in your drinks to try and fuck you up.
We just leave our drinks out in the open, hoping someone will.
Just slip me LSD. Come on, bro. I want to get fucked
someone
up.
Someone dropped their fucking shrooms in my drink. God damn it.
Please.
Yeah, But yeah, we've thought about going to one of those festivals, because they have a lot of, like, there's so many, like, underground rave artists and stuff that I've never heard of. But there's some really good ones that I like as well. People like Seven Lions. I really like his music. Yeah, there's some good stuff, and I think the festivals, there's a lot of I think it's more about the experience almost. I definitely want to go to a rock festival. They have those everywhere. But there was one in the Blue Ridge Mountains that had Red that I wanted to go see. But yeah, that's another band I want to see. There you go. Red. I've heard Michael is incredible live. So I want to see Red. But yeah, the thing about the festival is like it's almost like a camping trip because they have like camping areas where people bring their fucking tents and camp out for the night and then go see the because they're like 2 or 3 days long. And they've got artists every day, like different artists every day. It's crazy. So that's definitely more of an experience thing rather than just the music. But you know, big music's a big part of it too. But I want to try going to like variety stuff. Another like some people I want to see like I like to see people like Post Malone live. I've heard he's great live. Ed Sheeran, like people that are just really good musicians. I think I'd like to see play live. Maybe not like part of it is just to like, you know, as a fan, but a lot of it is as another musician just to see how the big people like the big artists do their stuff live. And
then hope you're there in 10 years time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be there specifically in 10 years, but just out of like sheer curiosity and like picking stuff up because I do want to eventually like tour and stuff, but that's a long way away.
You want to get big enough so that if you were able to put tickets out for a tour,
exactly. And touring is it's an endeavor. Like it's beyond like anything that I could organize. Like there's so much you have to think about all the time.
I know. Look, dude, even organizing, spending 3 nights in the city to attend and be a host at AvCon.
Yeah.
Even doing something as simple as that is such a massive fucking toll. Imagine doing that, but as well as traveling,
bringing
every
all
day
the music
to a
equipment
town.
Everywhere. Like there's so much stuff.
All your equipment. Like I had enough fucking trouble taking all my fucking clothes and clipboards and fucking shit to a hotel room.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that, but with all your equipment and all your shit all the time while traveling.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. That's why we have touring companies. But yeah, the first thing I want to do, actually, I think, I don't know if I mentioned this, but my first goal is to get a concert at a convention, actually. I want to perform at a convention. Because some of the bigger conventions, they actually have concerts from people who do nerdy stuff, like nerdy music and stuff. Like I've seen like people like Family Jewels and Rich Addy B. They do concerts like Caleb Hiles. They do live concerts at conventions. I've seen Jonathan Young, I think, has done one.
Like an electronic artist like DJ Joe. He does heaps of fucking like late night rave shit with anime remixes. For fucking like huge conventions and that. It's just like that's fucking
exactly.
Sick.
So that's one of the things I want to do first. Is I want to put on a rock concert at a convention. So but that's definitely a year, at least probably 2 or 3 years from now as well. But that's definitely one of my goals is to pull one of those out. That would be really fun, I think. Because then a lot of the things about concerts, it's like I don't have a lot of original music yet, and if you're going to perform at like an actual venue, you need to have a set of original music because there is like copyright law in doing covers, like certain amounts of copyright law that are involved in publicly performing other people's music.
Yeah, most of the time you can get away with one or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every single artist I've seen, like from like Foo Fighters, like even Skillet, I think they did a cover of a song. Like they all do one cover that they haven't remade and resold before. Yeah, they legitimately just do a cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, FM84 did a cover of "Everybody Wants to Rule the World," which was great. So yeah, it's just stuff like that. So if I were to do like an actual tour, I'd need a lot more original music. But because like I've seen clips of Nate perform live, he does almost all stuff from his original albums. But that includes the FNAF stuff. So even though it's based on a video game, it's still original music, so it passes. I
love the fact that he opens with "Enjoy the show."
Yeah, it's great.
Like,
that's the thing. But if I do a convention performance, then I literally have the green light to do a bunch of covers, which is pretty much all I have right now. So that's why it, like, in the near future, I would be doing like an actual, like, a convention performance, because then I could do heaps of the Pokemon covers I've done. Like I have the green light to cover the Pokemon theme, stuff like that.
I can imagine you and maybe like Mike or something like duetting the fucking Pokemon
Yeah, exactly.
Entire crowd joining on. I can
that's one of the things, is I want people to to be on stage with me if I do it, because being on stage alone kind of blows. So that's one of the things. Like, that's a big reason why Nate brought along Andrew and Sean to perform with him, because being on stage by yourself is kind of lame. Like, he probably doesn't need to have them, because I'm pretty sure he has instrumentals playing in the background, but just having a guitarist and bassist up there with you, it's just like to perform and do extra lines that you might miss or whatever. Like, it's nice. So that's one of the things. And actually, Mike is a prime candidate if I were to ever do like a convention performance, to be a guitarist.
I'm only going to guess like Mike and Robin, but
it would be but yeah, I don't even know, like, because I want at least Mike up there, or like a guitarist or bassist. Like, it just depends. I could probably get my band's guitarist to play bass. That might work. But it just depends. Like I said, it's a long way away from now. So we'll figure it out when it happens. But I definitely want to do one at some point.
Ambitions.
Yes.
Future ambitions.
So hopefully,
that's right.
one of the bigger conventions around here, will take me and let me perform.
Well, let's hope for the best. I do recall, actually, we did, for the After Dark event, I believe we had local artists come and perform, the local nerdy artists come and perform at an After Dark event. So I definitely see shit like that being possible. So, yeah, that's fucking mint.
There you go.
Unless you got anything else to bring
I'm
up,
done.
I think we're about good. I'm done as well, because this is the first time we've recorded a session like at night for me and morning for you. So, yeah, I'm starting to get tired. But thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this episode, let us know by liking the video and subscribing, and letting us know in the comments below. If you have any questions or suggestions, be sure to leave it in the comments or email us at firestormproductions2@gmail.com.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Firestorm Pod.
And follow us on Twitter at FireStorm Pod. I literally just uploaded earlier today, so like a couple hours ago, an abridged version of Doja Cat's
I saw that.
Say So lyrics, and I think it's pretty good. We like to do...
I'm not going to try to sing Doja Cat.
Okay. But yeah, we like to take the piss a lot, and
make dick jokes.
We make a lot of fucking dick jokes, alright? So you gotta get involved with it. But yeah. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. See you at the next one.
I just
keep sucking.
No. The fuck? I'm not gay.
Well, don't you say so. Fucking hell.